Queen Elizabeth's commemorative medal issued after these events contained the inscription Flavit et dissipati sunt, meaning it blew and they scattered.
But there we have it, guys. More cannons. And they have one of these on display. How about that? An AK-47 Kalashnikov assault rifle. Oh, hi guys, welcome to another Greg G&P video here on YouTube. And this one is about, well, something very interesting. As you can see, I've got some coins here, money, old coins, 2 tins of them. And that's heavy, there are a lot of coins there. Have a good look at that. And we've got another one here. This is even heavier. What the heck? Very old coins, which I inherited from my late father. And a lot of these coins are 1700s, 18, and well, even the first half of the last century is very well covered as well. There is one coin in particular that I'm after, and it's dated 1690 something. I've been looking through here, and trust me, there is a lot of coins in there. I've been looking through this one. Fascinating, really, really interesting coins in here. 17 this, and 17 that, and 18 this, and some coins are huge, and some of them are very, very small. But like I said, there is one coin I'm looking for in particular, and I couldn't find it in this one, and I couldn't find it in this one. And then I remembered there's a special little box. This little box, which was given to me. And aha, lo and behold, okay, lo and behold, we have, just put those out of the way for a moment, we have some very, very interesting coins. Like I said, big ones. I mean, that's the size of a man's hand in this here, okay, so it's a big coin, it's quite heavy. You might say, what is it? Trust me, I would love to tell you the history of some of this stuff, but I don't have the time. And I don't know enough about coins. I'm not a coin collector. I inherited it, okay? So what is the coin I'm looking for in particular? And why does it tie into this particular video, okay? I think I found it, actually. Yeah, I have. I've found it. There it is. This is dated 1694. I wonder what it was first spent on. What did they buy? I don't know about you, but I have visions in my mind of them going to the local market to buy things for livestock, chickens, cattle, you know, eggs maybe. I don't know, bread. What was it spent on? And then when did it come out of circulation? And then how the heck did it come into my father's collection? Well, unfortunately, he's no longer here to answer that question. But like I said, yeah, this is where it ties into the museum, the Tower Museum. Regular viewers to my channel will remember that, you know, through my tramping around the city and walking around, I did pass the Tower Museum quite a few times. And I did say, you know, I'd love to go in there one day and look at it and see what's in there. Fascinating. And yes, quite literally, it is a tower, like a castle, tower museum on 5 levels. Anyway, to the Tower Museum. This is an interesting video. And if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. I shot this video about 2 weeks ago. So if you like it, please give it a thumbs up, share, give us your thoughts in the comments. But I hope you enjoy this video. And if you enjoy it enough, maybe we'll do some other museums. But I think when it comes to Irish museums, well, Irish-British, because it documents everything, you'll find this interesting. I hope you enjoy. Back again, guys, with another Greg G&P video, and regular viewers to my channel will remember this area. We've been here before in the city, but we're back on a mission, so to speak, because although this is Guildhall Square on a beautiful day, lots of people out and about today, and there's the city walls, but we also have the Tower Museum, and this is where we're going today. Join me, it should be interesting.
According to legend, it was around 546 AD that St. Columkill built a monastery in an oak grove on an island in the River Foyle. As the monastery grew, it became known as Dura Columkill.
Derry mine, my small oak grove, little cell, my home, my love, O thou Lord of lasting life, woe to him who brings its strife.
The original 6th century Columban monastery was probably located on the site now occupied by St. Augustine's Chapel. St. Columkill was also known as St. Columba and was born in the year 521 at Garden in County Donegal. He was the founder of a great monastic tradition. During the early Middle Ages, Columban monasticism spread throughout Ireland. Places like In the early autumn of 1609, 4 wise, grave and discreet citizens were sent by the Corporation of the City of London to inspect various territories in Ireland and to report on their suitability for colonisation. It was their favourable report which led to the plantation of the city and county of Londonderry and the building of Derry's walls. Just 2 years before that, the leaders of Gaelic Ulster had fled from Ireland, the so-called Flight of the Earls, and shortly afterwards the English crown put down a rebellion by Sir Cahir O'Doherty of Inishowen. The crown then decided to colonise 6 Ulster counties which were deemed to be forfeit. The 4 wise and discreet citizens, a goldsmith, a painter, a draper and a mercer, sent as representatives of the Corporation of London, had been chosen from the ancient city companies. 12 of these companies or guilds were to form the Honourable, the Irish Society, charged with the colonisation of Londonderry. The first group of Londoners to arrive in 1610 were 130 workmen, masons and carpenters. The ancient settlement of Derry was in ruins. Within a year, plans had been made and work had started on the city and its walls. On the 29th of June 1613, Derry became Londonderry by a charter of King James I. The pattern of colonisation in the county of Londonderry was that land was divided amongst the city guilds, the vast majority of the native Irish were to be moved to restricted areas. All the colonists were seeking a new life, just like those who had set out for the Americas a few years before, and settled in places such as Jamestown, Virginia. Amongst the earliest arrivals in the plantation city of Londonderry was a group of orphan boys from London, sent over as apprentices. Colonisation continued during the following years, despite many arguments about land ownership and complaints of lack of progress, as well as a rebellious conspiracy by local native Irish in 1615, which was put down by the customary savage execution. During the next decade, Derry continued to grow, and by 1630 there were probably about 1,000 people living in the city. It was the largest settlement in Ulster, but they were to enjoy only another 10 years of peaceful development before the Native Irish Rebellion of 1641 and the first siege of Derry in 1649. The walls which they had built were soon to be needed in earnest.
So following on from the plantation part that we've just looked at, here's a model of what the city looked like when it was first built.
The leaders of Gaelic Ulster had fled from Ireland, the so-called Flight of the Earls, and shortly afterwards the English crown put down a rebellion by Sir Cavan O'Doherty of Zinchel. The crown then decided to colonise 6 Ulster counties, which were deemed painter, a draper, and a merchant, sent as representatives of the corporation of London, and being chosen from the ancient city.
So we're talking about the Siege of Derry. You can see that's sort of reenacted in a way here. Closing of the gates, and of course, information here.
New Hampshire, christening the settlement Londonderry. All over New England, other towns soon sprang up with names like Antrim, Hillsborough, and Derry. Throughout the 18th century, most immigrants were carried on American ships which brought flaxseed into the country for the linen industry and returned with passengers. Because the ships were mostly designed as cargo vessels, the kind of accommodation they could offer was usually cramped and extremely uncomfortable. Frequently, there were outbreaks of disease on board, and many of the most vulnerable never survived the voyage. People who could not afford the fare to New England would often finance their passage by signing on as indentured servants. This meant, in effect, that they had mortgaged their labour and would work for 4 years for an American employer in return for the passage and subsistence. Sometimes whole families would pledge themselves in this fashion. However humble their origins may have been, many of the Ulster Scots were to play leading roles in American history.
Guys, this is a fantastic museum, a real eye-opener. Information everywhere. And in this part, well, this is where the Troubles, as they were known, is documented. Some very interesting pieces here. Have a look. So we have the uniforms and the balaclava, or like ski mask, that organisations would have worn their uniforms. And of course, not to forget this. And they have one of these on display. How about that? An AK-47 Kalashnikov assault rifle. On the other side, we have what the police would have worn, their uniforms. Beside that, the army with their gas masks and the model of the old police vans, the standard issued rifle. There we go. Just trying to see exactly what one this is. This is the SLR, self-loading rifle. The Browning high-powered 9mm personal weapon defence. And we have, of course, collections of medals and badges of all kinds. And what they also show are the different kinds of rounds which were fired between gas canisters, rubber bullets, plastic bullets, and then actual bullets. An actual World War II engine from one of these. A Spitfire engine. I thought previously you get some great views from the walls, and you do from the city walls, but from up here, just to make sense of this, I've never been here before, but we can see many of the most historical landmark buildings in the city just from here. Sorry about the wind, but this is a must. You've got to get up here, guys, if you're visiting the city, and get a look around here. Beautiful, fantastic, spectacular views. I think my personal favourite is from here, because we can see the river in the distance, the Foyle Bridge in the distance, one of the bridges. We have Guildhall here, Guildhall Square. If you can see people down there, there's people on the walls below us. Alright, so following the beautiful views out there, and it is fantastic, really, really good, we have to move on to the Spanish Armada exhibition. It begins here. So let's have a look.
Queen Elizabeth's commemorative medal issued after these events contained the inscription Flavit et dissipati sunt, meaning it blew and they scattered. There was remarkable bad weather along the Atlantic coast of Europe in the summer and autumn of 1588. Because of these storms, after its first 3 weeks at sea, the Armada had barely reached the Bay of Biscay and had to put into La Coruña for fresh supplies and repairs. A month passed before it could sail again. It was accompanied by heavy gales all the way to London. On the 8th of August, strong winds from the south blew the Armada into the North Sea away from the Atlantis. Some English held that God had intervened to save them with a Protestant wind.
100 years later.
As you can probably hear in the background, this part of the museum documents when the Spanish Armada invaded. There's just too much to tell, and you'd really just need to come here and see for yourself and listen to the exhibition itself. Now, the Spanish Armada exhibition appears to be on 2 floors, so we have to go down another level from 5 down to 4. But what's kind of weird is you wouldn't really think that you're inside a castle until you see this. The windows. Next level, here we go. We've found a cannon, and they certainly did, and they have a real one here. And of course the information of how it was retrieved from the sea, when it was retrieved, but of course part of the Spanish Armada. And as you can see, they tell you in good detail there about its recovery. Sorry about the shadow, it's just the lighting, guys, but interesting. It's all very interesting. And look, down there. That's where we're going next. Diving gear. All right, the wetsuit. There you go. But yeah, there's the cannon. There's a lot of cannons in this city, let me tell you. All right, so I was talking about a cannon. Now, I know they retrieved that one from the sea, but the real one, the big one, is here. Here we go. And the attention to detail on the cannon itself. The coat or crest of arms. And you can only imagine the effort and the work that went into retrieving these things because of how big and heavy they are. And here we have other items which were found on the seabed, including a sword here. Well, not even a sword, a kind of a large dagger. I'm sure there's probably people watching this video identifying these items by their proper name. It seems that we have an old shoe here. And all of this recovered off the coast, and various other artifacts and tools and things that they would have used. But there we have it, guys. More cannons. And just previously, before we came down here, we could actually see some of the rounds and things that they would have fired. Life on board. Many items were recovered from this particular ship that they're featuring here. And they have some of those items on display. Personal items for eating, drinking, preparing food. All there. And they do tell you exactly what they are. More items recovered here. And here, everywhere you look, it's there's some really interesting stuff. Now, I'm not going to stand directly in front of these display cabinets because of my reflection. I don't want to ruin that for you. So we'll look at it from an angle, like so. But how about that? Very, very, very interesting. And some newspaper clippings from the time and when they recovered these items. These things would have lay on the seabed for hundreds of years before being recovered. And some of the media, press reports, the BBC and newspaper reports at the time on display, copies of them. Now Now, no museum would be a proper museum unless it had this. Dinosaurs. Like I was saying earlier, guys, any day is nice in the city, but it's always better, isn't it, when the sun is shining? Lots of tourists out and around. And in this final section, how about this for a cannon? A siege gun from the siege of the city. It's huge. Just there's my hand beside it. It puts things into perspective. Can you imagine the size of the round? It's as big as my hand that would have been blasted out of this thing. What sort of a bang or boom would it have made? The recoil of this thing. And this, like many of the cannons you see around the city, on the walls or in here, would have seen action and fired in anger for real. So we were at the very top, towering over the city walls here. And literally, that's what it is, the Tower Museum. In the city on a beautiful day. I think that's another Greg G&P video on a wrap. But the one thing I have to say is that museum is very, very comprehensive. About as comprehensive as you can imagine. Just about everything is documented. And it's certainly well worth a visit. Anyway, if you like the video, give us a like. Always remember, it is quite literally free to subscribe. I'll see you back here again soon. Take care.